Bare knuckle fighting championships. This is incredible action and excitement. And for the fourth time, he'll correct me if I'm wrong, for the fourth time, they're coming to the Hard Rock Live inside the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in South Florida, very near Hollywood. And it's just an exciting event. And the man behind Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, David Feldman, good enough to take some time. David, thank you so much. Tell us about this big event coming April 21st to Hard Rock Live.
What's going on, Jim? How you doing? Thanks for having me. It's actually our fifth event there. Not to correct you, but we did 4 consecutive sellouts, and this should be our 5th consecutive sellout there, which we're very excited about. It'll be next Friday night, April 21st at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Main event will be Dat Nguyen will be making his return. It's going to be an amazing card. We have a lot of local talent on the card, a lot of South Florida guys that are going to be on the card as well. It's just going to be a really, really great fight night. Very, very excited to have this on the this fight coming back to the Hard Rock.
David, is it fair to say BKFC is still in a young, growing stage, even though it's been successful so far? How do you look at the growth so far of it? And am I articulating that properly?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely in a growth phase. We're actually, but we're growing fast. We're coined by everybody in combat sports as the fastest growing combat sport promotion in the world, and our numbers are backing that up right now. If you go on YouTube or go to our app, we have the 2nd most views of any other combat sport organization in the world. The first being the UFC, the 2nd being BKFC. So we have the 2nd most views of any other combat sport promotion in the world. So we're growing fast. It's a struggle. We are young. We're going through growth problems here and there, but at the end of the day, man, this is a fun, exciting sport to watch. It's some of the toughest athletes in the world, both men and women. We do a women's bout on this card as well. So it's going to be another great night. If you're into combat sports, if you like boxing, if you like mixed martial arts, I guarantee you will love Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship.
And that's great to go into that, because I wanted to just, for someone that may not have seen it yet, or just someone that casually has seen it, what drew you to it? And this bare knuckle fighting, it's safe. It is very safe too. You have medical right there and everything. A lot of the fights go very quickly because you basically bare knuckle fighting. What attracted you to it, and why do you think it has grown as fast as it has?
Well, what really got me, I am the one that actually got bare knuckle fighting legal for the first time in 131 years. So it's not what grew me to this. What got me really interested in pursuing this was this sound. Like that sound, you hear that when you're there, bang, you hear that like nothing you've ever heard before in any other combat sport. And man, it's unbelievable. When you're there, you see people that come for the first time. As I look around, and as soon as they hear that, they're fishing. You know what? It's great. But you mentioned this, it's safe. We definitely take every protocol we can to make this as safe as we can for all of our athletes. Look, anytime you get 2 men or women in the middle of a ring or a cage and their object is to knock somebody else out, it's not, it's not safe, but it's not any more dangerous than boxing or mixed martial arts, and we have the data to back that up.
Hey, look at the NFL and all the concussions and issues. I mean, you go through a lot of sports and look at that. To me, it's more about having the sport, but then also mandating it in a way so it'll be safe as it can be. But the athletes know too, any type of combat sport, any type of sport, you're taking a risk.
Absolutely. 100%. I agree with you 100%. They know their risks. Their risks are modified here. They're not, they're calculated risks. They're calculated because now we do have the data. We do have some of the best physicians in the world, and we take care of our guys, and we make sure they get paid well. We make sure they have the great medical attention, and we make sure that we blow their profile up too. I mean, they become, very, very popular after fighting for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. We take a lot of pride in that.
I remember Yulie Monster Diaz from Miami was on one of the shows, and he had that lightning quick knockout, and the thing went super viral. Right
now, it was a 3-second knockout. He holds the fastest knockout in combat sports history, not in bare knuckle. In bare knuckle boxing, MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, the fastest knockout in history happened at the Hard Rock Casino. Unbelievable. that actually happened at a different place in Miami. I forgot. It was the Intercontinental during COVID. We did it there. It was a great fight. He's a great guy. He's a great ambassador. He's going to fight probably one more time for us and then become an ambassador for BKFC. What he's doing with the youth, what he's doing with his life is something that, we want to be a part of at BKFC, and we want to bring him a part of this as well.
Well, David, I'm glad you mentioned that because I know he's done some commentary work in other aspects too. And I'm curious if that might be something that might be discussed for him to do in some capacity with BKFC.
Sure, absolutely. We're open to anything with him. Like I said, he's been good to us. He's a good supporter of this. He introduced me to some really important people. So we love him here at BKFC, and anything that we can do that fits for him, we're here.
And David, did you blink and you missed it, or did you catch the punch, David?
I actually caught it. It was unbelievable. I mean, he didn't get hit at all, but he jumped over the top rope, and I thought he was going to fall into the crowd and get injured there. I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. Now it was awesome. It was really an awesome moment that we could be a part of, and someone like him that's been through a lot of ups and downs in his life, to dedicate his life into this sport, into combat sports, and be able to now hold the fastest knockout in combat sports history. It's pretty amazing.
David, not only the event coming up April 21st at Hard Rock Live here in Hollywood, Florida, which will be the 5th time BKFC will be there. I'm curious, you got some other big events coming up, and I wanted you to talk about those. And it's rapid, like a week, 2 weeks later and all.
Yeah, we actually have an event the next night, actually, in Leeds, England. It's going to be headlined by Jamie Cox. He's going to take on one of our fighters, Elvin Brito. And then the following week, we do our biggest card that we've ever done in Denver, Colorado, the biggest crowd, the highest grossing event. It'll be live on pay-per-view. We expect a lot of people to tune into this. This at BKFC.com. You can get all the information on that, but it'll be Mike Perry versus former UFC world champion Luke Rockhold, and former UFC world champion Eddie Alvarez will be taking on former UFC title challenger Chad Mendez in the co-main event. And then former UFC heavyweight challenger Ben Rothwell will also be on that card. So it's going to be an amazing night of fights. That's going to be April 29th, Denver, Colorado, live on pay-per-view, BKFC.com. It's going to be amazing.
It's just amazing to me, just all the names you're mentioning too. And I also think what's really cool about BKFC, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, is the fact that other combat sports like an MMA are able to come there and get showcase and get more work, do something else too. Did you ever foresee it being that? I know you're looking more like at your company and what you're doing, but you're opening doors.
Yeah. No, what I did is when I started this thing, I said to people in interviews, I said, this is the great middle ground. Like, you can get boxers fighting MMA fighters, and you find out who they are in this sport because it doesn't really favor either one. You would think it favors the boxer because striking, hands are the only strikes allowed. But then when the MMA guy can grab the back of his neck, I call that the great equalizer. It equalizes everything. So yeah, man, we're a sport for boxers, MMA fighters, Muay Thai fighters, kickboxers to come in here, you know what I mean, and test their skills and see what they can do. But it's just been an amazing run for us. We're on our 55th event coming up right now. We're going to be doing 40 events in 6 different countries. Well, it's going to be 8, but something got backed up. 6 different countries this year. We'll probably be in 12 different countries next year. We got a major TV deal on the horizon that we're trying to ink up here pretty soon. We got a major celebrity that we're actually going to announce tomorrow that bought into BKFC. So a lot of really great things are happening for us, and I really couldn't be happier about the growth. And South Florida is like our second home. We've done more fights in South Florida than we've done in any other city in the world. We've actually probably done more fights in South Florida that they equal the amount of fights we did everywhere else in the world.
I'm in South Florida. It's great to hear. But David, why South Florida?
Governor DeSantis allowed us to keep our business going during the pandemic, and the fans started loving us because we put on so many events. We did 5 events during the pandemic in South Florida, the only state in the country that was allowing us to do things. So we grew a tremendous fan base here, and combat sports wasn't crazy fan base in South Florida. And then over the past 3 or 4 years, it's been amazing growth for all of combat sports. And take my hat off to the UFC, who just did their fourth or fifth highest grossing ticket sales ever in Miami. Yep.
And I was going to mention that to you, David, too, because 11.9 mil, they broke the gate. You see things like that happening. But there is some crossover, as we mentioned. Does that oh man, this is awesome. This is great. This is great for all of us.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Look, I root, you got people out there that they call haters, right? Like they don't want to see someone else succeed. I want to rub elbows with success. I want to see how they did it so I can mimic it and do it myself. So when I see them doing great, I'm like, wow, I knew this was a tremendous market. This is a great market for it. Look, I'm not trying to be the UFC. We're trying to be a different sport and a different promotion. But if we can learn from what they're doing and the great things that they do and follow their footsteps, there's no telling where we're going to go. And, that's kind of been the model of what we're trying to do here. Follow success, right? Start new things, but follow success, because we don't know everything, but we do know that we need to follow the people that created this and paved the way for us. And now we have this unbelievable sport. Now, Jim, June 2nd, 2018, I became the first legal sanctioned bare knuckle fighting promotion ever in the history of the world, ever. Today, there's 62 bare knuckle promotions around the world. So it's not just the BKFC is growing, the sport is taking on like wildfire. I expect there to be 500 promotions in the next 5 years. And that's going to mimic kind of what MMA did, the evolution of MMA. And I think there's no telling where we're going to go. I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing run for us. I'm happy with our team. We got the best team in combat sports. It's been tremendous. And now we have two former UFC world champions, and then the guys that they're fighting are guys that fought for UFC championships. We have the best of the best fighting in our shows now. It's just amazing.
And it is amazing. There's so many ways to go with that, because I want to just turn a few more questions. I want to turn a little bit this way, because you mentioned like people coming on board to be a part of it behind the scenes on ownership or sponsors and things like that. You've had athletes, celebrities too, which is good for branding to be able to do that, because then they can mention it on their social media and all. For you starting it, was that always on your radar too? We want to get people who like this, but are also big names involved in it in some capacity, or that just organically happened?
To be very honest with you, Jim, me starting this was like, I worked on it for 9 years before it became legal. And I was like, just let me do one event, just so I can say that I didn't work 9 years in vain. And then it caught on. And then, so we didn't have these kind of, look, in the back of my mind, I was like, I want to be the biggest thing ever. But in the front of my mind, I was like, I just want to do one event, so I didn't waste 9 years, right? And they loved it. And now, like I said, we're getting close to our 60th event. We actually just signed a deal late last night to do a reality show that they're going to start filming. They're actually going to start filming next Thursday at the Hard Rock Casino for that. It's just amazing. It's amazing where things go. It's, if you work hard and you don't let anyone tell you that you can't do anything, man, there's no telling where you're going to be. And that's what I tell these guys. That's what I tell these fighters. Do the same thing. Go train your butts off, man. I want to help you make money. I always say, man, I want to build the table longer, not higher. I want everybody to be able to eat. You know what I mean? If we can eat, I want everybody to eat. And I want to be able to pay the guys more. I want to be able to do everything that we can do. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're, actually accomplishing right now. So it's awesome. It's awesome, the growth, and to be back in South Florida again at the Hard Rock, where everybody wants to go to the Hard Rock, right? I mean, you have some of the best acts in the world at the Hard Rock. I remember 2 events ago when I was watching, and Elton John was going to be there. It was Elton John, and then they advertised Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. And then I looked at ticket prices, and I was like, wow, our highest ticket price is higher than Elton John's highest ticket price. I was like, holy crap, this is unbelievable. So look, man, it's a dream come true what I'm doing. They say if you love what you do, you don't have to work a day in your life. I mean, the stress that we go through every day, it's tough, it's hard, but I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. It's not about money at all. It's about succeeding, meaning it's about, anytime I mention bare knuckle fighting to somebody, they know what it is. Then I know I succeeded. It didn't happen yet, but it's getting there. And it's all about, just accomplishing things that they said you couldn't do. And once we do that, then, then we'll be in a position to make some good money, and everybody can, get rewarded for all the hard work that they did.
And it's so true about bigger table, bigger plate. That's what you do. And you don't have to everyone grab for there, just to expand it, which you've been
100%.
doing. So I want to say this because we'll wrap this up, because I think this is important too, David. UFC WWE just merged. Massive deal that they had. And I'm wondering, I know it's still growing and still youth, still young, but growing fast. Does that, when something like that happens, well, maybe we could do something like that with another group, another entertainment group or something. Do you think that's the way it's going? Or do you think this is just a situation where it's just a fit for them? Because they are two different companies. I think so, per se. I don't know how you see it.
Yeah, we have companies. I mean, we have countries right now, like literally Middle East countries that we're talking to right now that want to put a ton of cash injection into this thing to blow it up. So, yeah, I mean, the talks are there. Everybody's looking for sports properties right now in the content business, and it's hard to own a sports property. It's not hard to own the rights to air a boxing match, but it's hard to actually own a sport, right? You can't own a sport. So we basically own bare knuckle fighting, and people want to get into and get involved with someone that or a company or an organization that actually owns a sport and owns the space in that sport. And that's kind of what we do. So, I mean, some of the conversations I had, honestly, I get off the phone and I literally, my really good friend today, Nelson Lopez, called me today, and because we're working on a huge deal, and he called me crying, and I'm like, oh, what's the matter, bro? You all right? He's like, we're really going to do this. Like, it was so happy because he sees all the hard work and all the naysayers that tried to put us down, and we're about to be funded to, a whole next level. And it is really going to happen. And it's just amazing, man. I mean, we got a great close-knit family as a team here, and the fighters love fighting for us. So if we can keep that trajectory going, there's no telling where we're going to be.
Well, David, let's wrap this up, and thank you so much. I want you to just, again, tell us about April 21st as we wrap up, and just give us the little bit of the punch there for this event coming up here at Hard Rock Live.
Absolutely. If you like combat sports at all, I urge you to come out to the Hard Rock Casino next Friday night, April 21st. Check out Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Dat Nguyen versus former Bellator world champion Daniel Straus in the main event. It's going to be an amazing fight. If you've never seen this before, please come out and see it, because it's going to be so exciting for you. You can get all the information, all the ticket information, all the live streaming information at BKFC.com.
That's Mr. David Feldman. And let me say this too. It's going to be a lot of action and excitement. And there's local fighters on the card as well, as he mentioned, which is awesome to see too. Bring that hometown crowd feel. And then you're going to be flying out to England. Is that right? So you're going to be one day you're going to be in Fort Lauderdale. You're going to be in Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale area. And then you're flying to England. So David Feldman, do you have your own private jet yet?
I wish I did. I'll tell you what though, but I got a lot of miles though. I do have a lot of miles.
Thank you, David.
Jim, as always, thanks, my man.